Mercedes just dropped the new GLE63 and GLS63 AMG SUVs. This was kind of out of nowhere. Usually I'm pretty on top of car rumors, but I didn't know these were coming out today. Probably because it's just more of a facelift than a whole new SUV. But there's something very significant about these SUVs that I feel like enough people aren't talking about, that even though it's just a facelift, makes it a lot more than just a facelift. So let's jump into it. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video to see why the engine in these cars is so important to the future of AMG, because it's seriously a crucial situation, and this engine could literally make or break the future of Mercedes. Before we talk about the cars, I just want to say please subscribe to Exotics Anonymous if you're not already. I'm getting this video out late at night for you guys because I didn't plan to make a video today, but doing the work for you. So please subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment, tell me what you think of the new cars. So the new GLE and GLS63 AMGs are both here. We got Mercedes' biggest flagship SUV in the GLS63, and we've got the GLE63, which is like an X5M sized car. Not a small car by any means, but not the biggest one either. These have both been very popular models for Mercedes in the past, 5-6 years, and even before that, really. It's good to have a facelifted one. We got some new features and some old features, and most importantly, the performance stats. So the GLS is rated at 3.9 seconds 0 to 60. The GLE is rated at 3.6 seconds 0 to 60. I have a feeling both of these cars will be faster in the real world than they are on paper. I bet the GLS will run like a 3.6 and the GLE will run a 3.4, probably, something like that. They're both fast, but they're not actually any different in terms of the power stats. Both of these cars are identical to their pre-facelift power numbers, so they're both 603 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque, which is the same as the last generations, and they're the same as each other, so that's kind of funny. And it's even the same power that like an E63 S made back in 2018 when that came out. So they could squeeze a little more horsepower out of these cars, but I don't think that's the significant part about these engines, and that's really what I want to talk about with these cars. And we're going to talk about why that's so significant about the power of these engines and why they didn't make more power. But stick around to the end of the video because I want to cover the interior and everything first and the exterior, and we'll talk about why this car and specifically this engine is so important for the future of AMG. Okay, so looks-wise, the cars both got the new like AMG front end, that new grille. It kind of looks more like the the S63 grille than it does like the older generation, say GT63 S grille does. Hate it or love it. I personally think like the 2021, from now to this year, was a better looking car for both the GLE and the GLS. Unfortunately, some Mercedes design cues the last few years haven't been the best. Like I think they probably were peaked between like 2018 to like 2023. Ever since then, things have been getting a little funky, but it's not terrible. There's way worse looking cars in the market. And to non-car people, the changes are so subtle, probably from a 2021 to a 2027, I guess you would say now. But if you're a car person, you'll notice these things. I definitely noticed them, so hopefully you guys appreciate that. The back of the car is pretty much the same. Still got the 4 exhaust tips, even though there's only like 2 pipes in there, which I always thought was funny. But back of the car pretty much the same. Side profile pretty much the same. New wheels that I'm not crazy about. I think the other AMG wheels are better anyways. And the front grille, just, yeah. So that's the looks of the car. That's the outside. Let's talk about the interior, and then we will get into the engine and why it's so important. So the interior is actually more interesting, I would say. Mercedes has been doing a really good job on interiors lately, ever since like the newest generation S-Class came out and the AMG manufacturer program has gotten bigger. You can get like really nice pillows on your headrest now behind your seat, and they can be the same color as like the seats you order. So there's that dark blue leather that with like the dark blue headrest you can get on like a GLS63, for example, and I think a GLE63 as well. Touches like that are really nice. These cars, the interior is not too different on either of them. You can get like that super screen thing with the passenger display now, which I think is overkill kind of for a car like this. Whether you like having a third screen or not, that's up to you. Some people think it's kind of like a gimmick. Some people prefer to have it. I personally prefer more just like the screen in the middle and the screen in front of you, and that's it. I don't think we need a third screen because the dashboard is literally like a big black screen all the way across now. So it just kind of doesn't really feel special. It kind of just feels more screeny than ever. And Mercedes really nailed the 2-screen design on all the previous generation stuff, like even in the prior GLS63 and GLE63 generation. So this super giant wide all the way across the car one doesn't look as good, but it's not the most offensive change that certain car manufacturers have made lately, so that's good. So seats and leather and all the options, very good. Don't love the new screens. The steering wheel is still that not great Mercedes steering wheel that they came out with in 2023 on a lot of these facelifted cars. The one they were making from like 2019 to 2022 was just peak steering wheel. The dynamic drive mode controls on the steering wheel, it just looks so good. And you could have like either carbon or all leather or all Alcantara. That wheel was perfect. This one's not my favorite. They have tweaked it a little bit and made it a little more usable and comfortable to hold, which is good, but all those haptic buttons just have to go. I know they added literally just 2 scroll knobs back to it and everything else is still haptic. That's not good enough. We need real buttons back and make the wheel a little more comfortable to hold. Not my favorite steering wheel, but it's not as bad as like the new Audi steering wheel, and I like Audis. I love Audis. I have one, but that new Audi steering wheel is just awful. So this is still better than that, which is good. Lots of carbon fiber optional in this car. In the middle, you can get basically everything in carbon fiber. Even like the gear selector can be in carbon, so that's good. I like that these have like actual gear selectors and not the stock that the cars had for a long time, which is good. Back seat's really nice in the GLS. The GLE, it's fine too, it's not terrible, but the GLS is really nice. You can get the optional third row if you want it, and plenty of space when you get all the seats folded down in either of them to move stuff around, whatever you're doing, as long as there's nothing too messy or, you know, ridiculously oversized. It should be plenty for like any family stuff or like moving things around within reason. So very usable cars. I don't know who's buying the AMG ones for, you know, the practicality purposes. I'm sure there's a few people out there. I say that, but I've had like plywood in my S6 before. So overall, interior is pretty nice. I wish they'd put a better steering wheel back in the car, and maybe the giant screen thing's a bit of a gimmick, but everything else is pretty great about the interiors on both of these cars. So not too much bad things to say there. The exterior is not that bad overall. Not bad changes on the interior or exterior in general, just like tweaks that you either like or you don't like. But really, the AMGs are about the engines, so let's get into that. The engines of these cars, it's called the M177 Evo V8 flat plane crank engine. Now, the significance of this is Mercedes-AMG's new Euro 7 compliant emissions engine. So this engine is okay for, I think, the next like 15 years. So we're going to get Mercedes V8s again. It looked really dark when the new C63 had a 4-cylinder turbo hybrid situation as the setup. The sales reflected nobody bought the thing. I don't think anyone even leased it. They were giving crazy lease deals on it. That car was a flop. And Mercedes very quickly changed their tune. And thank God, because that would have been so upsetting if all our AMGs started being downsized to 4 cylinders. I'm sure some of them would have stayed 6 cylinders for a while. But it's just not an AMG if it's not a twin-turbo V8 at this point. So, I mean, obviously, even some of the older AMGs that were just giant naturally aspirated V8s are great too. And the V12 ones are iconic. But, you know, twin-turbo V8, that's what we need out of our AMGs. The 4-liter V8 they've been putting in cars, say, since the AMG GT came out, that 2015 and up AMG GT. That engine is just so great. It almost drives naturally aspirated, but with the power of a turbo engine. So it's fantastic. It sounds amazing. And the sound we'll talk about, because this new M177 Evo, it's no longer cross-plane crank. It's flat plane crank. So the sound isn't as good, and you can notice it's not as good. And part of that is the new OPF filters that the cars just can't be as loud over in Europe anyways. And the other part of that is just the flat plane crank sound is different than a cross plane crank sound. But the reason this engine is so important is because Mercedes had started canceling models like the E63. There just wasn't going to be a new E63. There was going to be this E53 with the twin turbo V6 hybrid situation, and that was it. That was going to be our top level E-Class, because slowly they were going to start phasing out models that had to have a twin turbo V8 essentially. And now we've got this new compliant V8 that's okay to go for emissions, and it's going to make its way back into cars. And I happen to know for a fact there is a new E63 in development with this new engine, and these GLE and GLS63s are the first cars we're seeing this new V8 in at the AMG trim level. The regular M177 Evo engine is in that new S-Class facelift they just showed, but it's not the AMG. Like, there hasn't been an S63 engine outfitted yet. So these GLS and GLE63s are the first cars we're seeing with this new AMG level V8 engine. I will have a video coming on that new S63 that I just mentioned, because I know some very fascinating things about that car that I'm excited to talk about. So subscribe if you're not already, so you don't miss that video. For those of you who don't know, the 2020, we'll say, E63S to me is like the perfect daily driver ever made. If you didn't care about brand or looks or anything like that, I think that is like the perfect driving everyday car. And it was very upsetting to me when the E63 was like one of the first models they were going to cancel due to this whole thing. So I'm very excited that they've got an engine that can continue the E63 name. It probably won't sound as good as the old ones did, and it probably won't look as good, honestly, either, or have as good of an interior, because none of this stuff is as good as it's been. But at least it's going to continue on and, you know, rival the BMW M5 and the Audi RS6 sedan, which is coming, which is also very exciting. So hopefully fast sedans are making a comeback, and I'm wrong about them not being as good as the old ones. Hopefully they'll be even better. I'm just glad they're going to exist thanks to this new Mercedes engine. So really the significance is just we have a compliant AMG V8 that's going to take us in the next, 15, 20 years, hopefully. And we're going to get exciting cars because of that. So this GLS and GLE63 are really just a facelift, but they carry an important message that Mercedes-AMG will have a V8 for the next, 10 to 15 years, let's say. And that's great for car fans. That's great for AMG fans. And it's just great in general. But that's going to do it, guys. I don't want to keep this video too long because it's really just a facelift in general, but I thought the engine was very important to talk about for the future of Mercedes and the future of AMG. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys appreciate me getting it out so quick, and it's late at night for me. You guys will see it during the day. Please subscribe for me. Please like the video, comment, help me grow the channel, and I hope to see you in the next Exotics Anonymous video. I will have that S63 video out for you guys in the future, so stay tuned for that. Have a good one.